We're back. I know what you're thinking. Wow, these guys made another video. That's right, we did. We're making one.
Just in before 2020.
Just in before 2020. And you're probably thinking, well, after halfway of the regular season, they never made a playoff video, and that'd be correct. This year, our goal is to make one past Christmas, and then I don't know if we'll be around for playoffs. It could go under. It could all go under, and we wouldn't make
who's in playoffs.
Depends on it. Depends on who's working. Probably me. And yeah, I don't know, but you will definitely get a Winter Classic video. Yeah, you'll get one of those. You'll get pictures of us.
It may be snowing. Probably not.
Yeah.
Texas, you never know.
It's a slight sleet.
It's gonna be hard rock ice outside.
Good luck, everyone. They will be selling Winter Classic helmets for the first time for the for the people. It's only hailing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Get your buckets on.
As long as there's not a tornado on New Year's Day, it'll be great.
It could be one of those. There could be several things wrong with Texas weather. But I think we'll get photos for the Instagram. I keep meaning to upload our photos from the draft from 2 years ago to the Instagram, but I haven't.
It's out there.
Our Instagram, I'm saying that all backwards. Our Instagram game is so weak.
It's fine. I only have like 10 posts in the last 2 years.
Same. I swear to God, we'll try to be better, but my account's on private because I don't want you guys looking into my personal life, and then I realize most of my personal life is just docs and pictures and hockey, so you should totally follow us on Instagram. Okay. If you don't know who we are, because we never say who we are, we are Fresh Ice. We're trying to keep it fresh. And you're like, wow, how fresh can you be? Well, our last video, we messed up a lot. I said somebody was in the league, it turned out they're retired, and then somebody else was on another team, and that's like...
You know how it is.
Yeah. It was Leonard. I thought Leonard was the Islanders goalie. He's not. He's the backup to Chicago. And the Islanders goalies are Greiss and Varlamov. Things I've learned the past month. So, it's not that I'm not aware of these things. It's we don't have a prompter, and we don't write anything down, so this is all off the dome.
There's a lot of crazy free agency this year.
Yeah, that too. And some trades. We had some early trades. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, how come you guys don't really cover trades? Because the trades happen and we're 5 hours apart from each other. So unless, of course, you want another Skype call of like... We're not. I don't plan on doing that. Unless, of course, we can do this once a week. And I hope we can do this once a week. But who knows? So, anyways, we're back. We're going to try to keep it fresh. I know what you're thinking. 3 weeks in between part. How fresh and perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's right. So, today we're going to go with best players so far, which I think we're about the 20-game mark, 19, 20-game mark, 21 game. I think if you divide the season into 4, I think it says 21.5 is the quarter mark, and you can't really play 21 and a half games. So we're right at the quarter mark. So we're going to go best player so far, and we didn't base this off of stats. Well, I didn't. I mean, you could, but I didn't, because logic. And then we're going to do early surprises, when to panic in a season, and we might have time to do teams that we think who need to improve, like just an overall, and just like fix your organization, because even though you're 20 games in the hole, you can still be competitive, and a lot of those teams are competitive. So just don't, you can panic, you need to kind of panic now, but don't extremely panic. Again, our team started off 1-7, and half the comment section wanted to fire and trade everyone away. And that's too early to be doing that. Honest to God, it's 10 games, okay? Wait another 10, and I said be as close as you can to 500. I texted you that. Just be close to 500, and you'll be fine. And we're right at the 500 marker, and we're only 2 to 4 points out of a wild card slot. And that's exactly where I had us. Wild card number 2 again, because every team in Dallas just knows how to play crappy.
They know how to play right on the edge.
Yeah. Again, the Stars, We either show up for the first 40 minutes and we don't finish the game, or like we did against Minnesota, we don't show up for the first 2 periods, and then in the third we decide to score 5. So the Cowboys play the same way. If you're like, oh, the Cowboys, again, in New York, did not attend the first half, and then they were like, oh, second half? Yeah, we should show up. And you're like, wow, they're supposed to be really good. And everyone goes, yeah, aren't they super good? And we're like, well, they're supposed to. And then you get reality, and you don't know what you're going to get. Some teams start slow, other teams like get really hot early, and if you can get ahead, that's fine. Other teams play more balanced. I like watching those. But if you're not in it for the roller coaster, are you really a fan?
You gotta ride the whole wave, all the way. Just ask St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get onto this giant roller coaster, and you're like, you know what? A little childish. Feels like I'm on the teacups. Let me unbuckle, and then you just right. No one does that. I hope not. So we're gonna do that. When to panic, and then I've been watching a lot of overtime games, and honestly, they're starting to suck. Except for the one we just watched. If you're wondering what day this is, it is Saturday. The Leafs just played. Dear God. Philadelphia. That's right. I picked them because I wanted to know a little bit more about Philly. They went to overtime. That overtime, even though it lasted 5 minutes, was very entertaining from start to end. Usually about the last minute is when they start running up and down the ice. Yeah. This time, entire ice was on fire. Yeah. Loved it. So, that's what we're going to do. Guess we should do best players so far. And what I decided to do, because I couldn't decide on, there's too many of them. We need a new plague. Yeah. I decided that I wanted to do kind of a forward, a defenseman, and a goalie from each division. I'm going to break my own rule that I'm going to set because I already have my list. But I wanted each position to be from a different team. That way you're not like, Alexander Ovechkin, John Carlson, and Braden Holtby were like the 3 best, and that's why they're number 1. No, I'm not here to make a case about that. I just want to say, if the Capitals didn't score as much as they do from everyone else, and Braden Holtby was holding that team together, then I would say Holtby, and then everyone else would suck it. So I tried to balance it out a little bit, and I couldn't decide between 4 people in 2 divisions, so I think that's fair. I don't know who Bodie's going to go with, so I'm going to let him go first. So.
I might go a little bit different. Start off in the Central. My goaltender would probably be Pekka Rinne, just because he's kind of the basis for everyone in that division. He's kind of the number 1 for any team. He's kind of been steady. Hasn't had a lot of playoff success, but he's kind of been the number 1 guy that's been consistent for, I don't know, almost 2 decades now.
Yeah, 2 decades, but we're going off for the first 20 games here.
Yeah, but I mean, Nashville's kind of had a slow start to the season. They're still up there in the standings in the top 3, but I think Rinne's kind of been, I guess, carrying the team a little bit. Forward, I would probably say out of the Central, it's been the best player. I would probably say Nathan McKinnon. Yeah. I mean, pretty much anybody you could pick from Colorado. It's kind of been just the speed that he has, and he showed it last year during the playoffs and how effective he can be. I think McKinnon's kind of, if they can all stay healthy, Colorado can have a decent team. But when you're missing your entire top line, that kind of makes it difficult. But I think McKinnon's kind of been the top forward for me. And the best defenseman, I would say, I don't know who you're probably going to say from Nashville, but I would probably say Yossi. Out of everybody, he's kind of been impressive to me. He's kind of carried the team, brought a lot more character to Nashville, and kind of been an offensive piece for him as well. So that kind of contributes a little bit.
You went 2 Nashville players. Okay. Oh, that's fair. Nashville's good. What are they, like 9, 6, and 1? I think if I was to base this off the standings, or 10. They play tonight. I'm gonna say they're 10 because San Jose.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. See, you're like, you guys don't have anything written down. Okay, like laptop's not here. I'm not able to pull up the schedule, and we don't have a script. Like, there's no whiteboard. I should invest in that. No, so my people from the Central, my first thought, and everyone's going to be like, oh, Homer. Yeah, okay, Homer, okay, Roope Hintz. I've literally carried the Stars through the first 10 games. Even though they didn't win, scored goals, made timely plays, was the best player on the ice most of the night. So I went Roope Hintz, and if I feel like, oh, you're doing a homer thing, pick somebody else, Nathan McKinnon. Sorry. Like, Philip Forsberg, I was thinking about this the other day. I don't remember having to, like, re-rack my favorite players because my favorite player moved back to Russia, so I hadn't been like, let me think of a new favorite player. Philip Forsberg would be the closest thing, and then probably Elias Pettersson is number 2, is like someone to watch that's just not a Dallas person. But I went with Hintz and McKinnon. Defensively, these Stars have been kind of really bad offensively, but that's okay. I was going to go with Elias Ekholm because he seems to be really balanced out. He blocks shots, he plays really well. And then I was thinking, well, the Blues aren't doing me any favors by being crappy this year. Tarasenko went down, but the good news is their defense is still really solid. So I went with Colton Parayko just to be different and to just recognize, like, hey, you got to recognize talent. Talent has to recognize talent. And you're thinking, wow, your talent's crappy. And you're like, oh, right, that's what I'm thinking about St. Louis. So I went with Colton Parayko. And then, it's like I told you the other night, and this is before the Avs went on that losing streak, though. They had 5 games where they couldn't score more than 1 or 2 goals, and that's because Nathan McKinnon or somebody else productive was scoring. But Philip Grubauer has been a major surprise for him since last year. But if you're in 1 or 2 close games, Phil's been holding them in there. But I also said Colorado probably could win the Cup this year, just on how their roster performs, and then they weren't scoring, and then last night, or 2 nights ago, they just went 9-4.
Yeah.
So if they can balance that out to where you can, I don't know, score 3 goals a night and figure it out, I think they'll be fine. But they're really good. My concern for St. Louis is I don't know how long you can play these close games and get away with it, but Colorado could definitely give them a run for their money. Those are my 3.
Alright, so move on to the Pacific Division.
Whatever division you want. Wherever you want.
Might as well stay in the Western Conference. Start off with best forward. I would probably say out of all the teams in the Pacific, I don't know if you can go Vegas for everything.
I don't know if you can do whatever you want. I try to spread it out, show a little love.
No, I try and spread it out some, but there are certain teams that I've watched more than others early on this season. I'll start off with a goalie first, since I can't really think of a forward at the moment. But I'll stay in Vegas, and I'll go with Marc-Andre Fleury. He seems to have been a constant piece on that back end. Whenever he's gone down, Subban has stepped up in his place, but Fleury kind of carries that team. He kind of brings the momentum for her every night. If he gets a big save or rubs the post or smiles at somebody, it kind of brings their ego up a little bit.
Giving away sticks.
Yeah. Just doing it all for them over there. But also Calgary, I would probably say, I think you may have him on your list as well, but it's not Brady Tkachuk. Or is it Brady Tkachuk? Matthew Tkachuk.
It's one of the Tkachuks.
In Calgary. I think he's kind of been one of the more, not underrated because he's gotten a lot of, I guess, press this year. He's kind of stepped over Gaudreau. He's kind of carrying that Calgary team right now as one of the younger players. Gaudreau's kind of had a down start to the season, but I think Tkachuk has kind of taken them and made them a more physical team. He's kind of helped them win their battles in the corners and especially in front of the net, and that leads to more offense for Calgary. So I think he's kind of been one of their better players for them, and he's kind of one of the players to look out for, I think, carrying Calgary the rest of the way this season if they want to make playoffs again. And then for defense, I mean, you can't really. San Jose is just. I mean, Carlson, he signed that big deal, and Burns signed the big deal, but I think if I had to go with anybody, it'd probably be Pettersson. He's kind of been one of all the young players have kind of stepped up in the Pacific Division, but for Vancouver, he's kind of been a little bit better coming into his second season in the year in the NHL, and he's kind of stepped up for that team and led the offense a little bit, but he's starting to get stronger defensively as well.
Yeah. So your centerman is your defenseman.
Sure. Why not?
For me, we're gonna agree here. Marc-Andre Fleury has just been spectacular. I think you could also ask questions or raise questions of, I mean, goalies have the question year round is how much do you give the goalie the work? How much does he want? Sometimes you want to rest them a couple times. Other times they're like, hey, just let me just get hit. I don't care if we win, lose games if you're making playoffs. But Flower has been, once again, spectacular. I wish they have Derek England on defense and they have like Nate Schmidt, but I wish they kind of had more of, I guess, a young forward like Gostisbehere or Hughes, or not a young forward, but like a young defensive forward where it's like Klingberg or Miro or even Erik Karlsson, like just a forward that can jump. I know a lot of their players jump into the play and it's a real five-man group, but Flowers kept them grounded when they needed to and has been exciting. For defense, now you're thinking, hey, again, this is why I didn't really base it on stats, because LA's at the bottom, but I'm going to go Drew Downey. He showed up in Calgary. He showed back up in LA. He's been playing really hard. He blocks shots. He's leading where you need him to lead, and it's weird transition period of LA hockey. But I knew they were going to be bad. I think everyone knew they were not going to be super good, but to still play at that level through 20 games and not have the record, I give him credit there. My forward is Elias Pettersson. He makes things happen in Vancouver. If you're not watching him play, he should probably start.
Yeah.
I should say the same thing about McDavid. I was telling, I think you or somebody else the other night, I realize he's good, and I go, oh, he's good, but he's not like that good. And then I watch him and I go, I don't know why I have this thought of like, he's not that good. I know he's good, but he's like not that good. No, he's not. McDavid's really that good. But Pettersson's like equally that good. I think if you play physical against him, it gets him a little off kilter. I think that's the issue. Vancouver is going to need to lose, I think, a lot more this season. Like last season, they kind of got pieces together, and they added some, and they added some size, and they got better as a group, and they're back on track. But I think they need to just lose a little bit more. It sounds terrible. I know. You need to lose a little bit more, so when you come back next year and you add more pieces and you get people to come in together, it's just that more fun. It's that much more fun. Like if you don't do something for a while and it's not good and you're there and you watch it build, it's so much more fun. It's so much fun. But he's really good. I enjoy watching him. Those are my three: is Pettersson, Downey, and Flower.
So off to the Eastern Conference. I don't know if you want to start with Metro. Might as well start off with Washington and New York have kind of been the top two teams in that division so far. Pittsburgh is still always right around there, with Carolina being in the top four, I guess, of that division. I think if I had to go with any goalie, it'd probably be Greiss. He's kind of carried the Islanders early on. They've had that 10-game win streak that just got broken a few nights ago by Pittsburgh. Those two have kind of been battling out for the top two spots in that division. But I think Greiss, coming in after Leonard had such a great season for the Islanders last year, it was kind of a big, I guess, step up for him to be the number one there. But he's kind of taken that to heart, and they've got that 12-3-1 start so far. So I would probably say he's my top goaltender. Top forward out of the Metro, I mean, it's kind of, there's a few players, even Carolina, even though they're sitting there in that tie for third place, they've got a bunch of young guys that are, like you said, exciting to watch. Carolina's kind of come on as one of the better teams to watch and more exciting teams to watch, especially when they're playing at home. But I would probably go with, if I had to pick anybody out of the Metro division, like you were saying earlier, Svechnikov, especially with his lacrosse goal that he scored early on this season. But he kind of brings a little bit of energy to the team. I saw him on Twitter the other day teaching his teammates after practice how to do the goal. So they're all trying to be like him. But he's kind of carried them and made them better, I guess, just energy-wise. And he's trying to bring more offense to that Carolina team that's pretty fast and really young. And they're hoping to stay in that top spot for a couple of years to come. Defensemen, there's not really much competition when it comes to John Carlson. I mean, 30 points in the first 20 games of the season, that's not bad for a forward, but for a defenseman, that's kind of ridiculous. So Carlson, I mean, he's pretty much been one of the more underrated. Like we were talking earlier, how he's usually in the top 5 in defensive scoring every single year. He hasn't won. I mean, I guess there's not a trophy for defensive scoring, but I don't know if he's won a Norris Trophy, but he's definitely one of the bigger candidates to take that home this year, and I think he's been a big piece of why Washington's had their early success.
Washington, I think Trotz has turned the Islanders around just by coaching. I think people underrate how good coaching is. Coaching matters.
Just a little bit.
Coaching really matters.
San Jose.
San Jose has a coach. I mean, just ask LA. LA and Anaheim. I mean, Anaheim really just was like, this is what we're doing. So the Metro. So we're gonna start with goalies. I'm gonna say Connor Hart, and if not, it's been the duo of Elliott too, because we just watched them play. But Philly's gotten some good goaltending in the past couple years. They've had a revolving door of goalies, and it's been an issue. But I like what Connor Hart does. He's still still needs development time, but I like what he does. He's very solid and gives them like a nice chance to win every night. I know they also have a new coach there, and they're trying to figure out what identity they are, because everyone's gotten either really old or they're really young, and so they got like a nice group of older guys that can get the job done, and then they also have an amazing young talented group of Provorov, Konechny, Oscar Lindbaum. They got Hayes, he kind of fits in the middle there, and Gostisbehere, and they brought in Niskanen, and so they got like a really nice, like a good mixture of people to be like, you know what, you can bring us the energy when we need to, but if there's something getting out of control, we can handle the long haul of it. But I like Connor Hart. We're getting with defenseman now. Carlson, yeah, good God.
Good start.
Well, it's all right. No, it's been a great start for him. I watch a lot of Washington Capitals games. Fairly entertaining. Again, they're also well coached. As like, this is what we're doing. They've managed to keep a lot of their core, which is very surprising, and they haven't fallen off. Know what you're thinking? Well, why don't you pick Ovechkin? Well, if I was to go best players to watch year round, it's Ovechkin. He shows up night in, night out. But Carlson has started hot and has kept it going. And I think this year he might actually win the Norris. He's been up there, and it's like, well, Victor Hedman could do it. Burns could do it. There's so many good defensemen now that you don't know. Back like 10 years ago, it's like, well, there's only one, and it was Lindstrom. And then it was like, who else is there? Not a lot. Now we have a bounty of them. So I went with Carlson. I'm thinking, again, with Carolina, Svechnikov or Sebastian Aho. It's one of those two. I like both of them.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember Sebastian's name earlier, but I like Aho. They also have a weird good mixture of experience and non-experience, and they brought players in from Calgary that were like, hey, this is what we want to be like, and their coach is good, but Andre is a point getter, Sebastian Aho is a point getter, and they both make plays, but Svechnikov just doing that across the whole was just like, okay. It's like that. So, Atlantic, let's hit it.
Alright. Atlantic, I would probably say he's kind of been one of the best players in the entire league, not just best forwards, but David Pastrnak. I mean, the connection he's had with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron, if you're on his line, then you pretty much don't have to worry about defense at all. He kind of gets back whenever guys don't get back. But Marchand kind of brings a grit to that line. He's been the setup man for Pastrnak. I think he has 15 goals already on the season.
Something ridiculous.
So he's only on pace probably for 50 this year. We'll see how it goes the rest of the way for them. But, I mean, he's kind of put Boston in a good place so far. They've been good defensively. Switching over to defense, I would probably go with Morgan Riley. He's kind of been a staple for Toronto the last couple of years. He was probably a big Norris candidate last year for him, and kind of really stepped up offensively for him as well. I think he had close to 15, 20 goals last season, so he's kind of been a big spark for them, and kind of helped out on the back end with Freddie Anderson taking a lot of the load for Toronto. Another one I would say, one of the better defensemen or goalies on the back end, just have to go with Vasilevsky. I mean, he's kind of been one of the top guys for the last couple of years. Won the Vezina last year over Bishop. Debatable. I talk about win totals, but I go by other numbers. Anyway, I'll move past that. But I mean, he's just one of the more athletic goalies in the entire league, and he brings it night in, night out. So he's kind of been not just one of the better goalies for Tampa Bay and in the division, but in the entire league.
Oh, that's fine. So I'm gonna go back from goalies to forwards because I still can't decide on a forward, so I'm gonna give two because that's my show. So I'm gonna go with Rask. If Boston needs bailout, Rask has been there. Rask has also have really good numbers. I think he leads right now in the league. And he's like, it's 20 games. And it's like, look, he lost the finals last year and was figured out how to let that go and move on and focus on this year. So I'm going to give it to Rask. Defenseman, again, going to go off the wall here because you're looking for people to watch. Thomas Chabot from Ottawa. Very talented. Like, they were just definitely going to keep him. If you're,
that was the one guy they weren't going to trade.
Yeah, that's like the one guy they're not trading. You're thinking, well, why trade Stone? That's a very good question as to why trade Stone. They have Bobby Ryan there. God, I feel so bad for him, but I think he's trying to get healthy still. But I'm going to go with Thomas Chabot. He's made some big plays on their few wins that they have, and he seems to find the back of the net when he needs something to find the back of the net. And they have the other Kachuk, and I think they're going to keep him. And a couple other, but their coaching, I forgot their head coach, but their coaching's kind of all over the place. But Thomas Chabot, somebody to watch. Now the two guys. Now I'm going to say, out of my two, the first guy is leading the way over the next guy because it's just when you talk about making an impact and having to will a team to the next level, Austin Matthews is that guy.
Yeah. Pablo Escobar.
So we watched this tonight. We come back from our dinner, and the Leafs are down 2-1. We go into the third, and Matthews tries the lacrosse move, and the puck ships barely over his stick. I think we can legally talk about this. Sure. Not they're gonna find us. So goes over his stick, and then after he's like, okay, that didn't work. He passes it, and the Leafs tie it, and it's a goal. It's one of those things where it's like, I know Tavares finished it in overtime the other night, but Matthews sniped it, dude.
Yeah.
and just if something's not going right for Toronto, Matthews seems to figure it out. Now I wish Mitch Marner would. Mitch Marner is like a big spark to the team, but Matthews is like, if I can shoot and get good looks and score goals, we have a chance to move forward. Now the other person that I would say probably, if I was to go, hey, 40 games in, or 41 games in, at 41 games because that's half the season, at 41 games in, who is like the most important or best player still around the league? I would say Jack Eichel at 41. Because Matthews could fall off, and there's so much talent in Toronto that someone else could pick it up. I mean, you're paying Nylander. I would hope so. How much you pay Nylander, I hope he picks it up, and Marner can do it, and obviously Tavares can do it, and then Riley can do it, and they picked up Barry. I think everyone's still trying to figure out the roles there, but Matthews is the one sparking this team for the next 20. But 41, if I had to make a prediction, Jack Eichel. Holds the puck, carries the puck, passes the puck, shoots, leads. That's just, he's your captain, leads. He's leading by example. Love it. That's my best player. Those are 1A and 1B. And it was really hard for me to decide. But I think in the long run, it's probably Jack. Right now, Matthews. I'm on it. I'm on that train.
Yeah.
Just like I'm on the Carolina train, on the Matthews train.
Oh, yeah.
Could shave the stash, though.
Can't for the rest of November, man. He might carry it the rest of the year.
He's been playing. I don't know. I don't think you saw this, but I think it was Vancouver. Someone was trying to grow their mustache, and they were like, "Dude, this looks awful." And he goes, "Okay, well, for $5,000 or more, like you guys bid on it, and I'll shave it and donate it to charity." So like you could
turn it into a contest.
Yeah, turn it into something. But those are my, those are those are my Atlantic players leading. This is our ranking. I don't know where we're going with this. So my next question. This is a good question. I saw this on Instagram because I don't really use Twitter. Which duo would you rather have? And it's McDavid and Draisaitl. And I know what you guys are thinking. How dare they? How dare they? How dare they not put Connor McDavid in their list? And I go, hold on. If I am going to ask this question, because I didn't add a Boston guy. I only added Rask to this. Which duo would you rather have? Pasta and Brad, or Draisaitl McDavid?
It's such a tough pick. I mean, because it's two of the best duos in the entire league, but McDavid, I'll say it. I mean, Crosby is. That's another debate. I'm not even going to go down that road with Crosby and McDavid, but McDavid being one of the best players in the world, I still, even though my loyalty is to Draisaitl because he's on my fantasy team, I have to go with Pastrnak and Marchand. Just what they've done over the last couple of seasons, building that chemistry, and then you add in Patrice Bergeron on that line. But just even without Bergeron, the tough defensive part of that line, those two, Pastrnak just creates something out of nothing. Marchand gets under the other team's skin. He's a great setup player. I think Draisaitl he's kind of chipped in more on the goals this year than he has been on the helpers, but I just don't think there's anything topping Brad and Pasta right now.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm going to do the opposite of you. Goodness, I watched the Oilers opening night, and my goodness, they gave Connor McDavid just like a quick little turnover and bump and go, and then it was just short side. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, why do I think he's not that good when he really is?
Until you watch him for 5 seconds.
I even watched him in person against the Stars, and the Stars won, and I was just like, thank God we shut down Connor McDavid. Because that was my thought, thank God we stopped them.
Yeah.
But that was when, what's-his-face was still coaching over there, and I was like,
McClellan.
doesn't know how to coach. Yeah. No, I'm going to go with Draisaitl and McDavid. McDavid obviously makes everyone better around him, and I don't think they have to split him up this year as much. Now that James Neal is fixed, it's a big, big slap in the face. No, he scored the other night too. They go, he hadn't scored in 3 games or something. Fix that problem. I'm like, all right, well,
he scored in 3 games and he still got around 10 goals already this year.
Yeah, he scored again. I think it was 12.
Yeah.
I'm not again. No. We're done here. Not looking at
more goals in the first week or 2 of the season than he had all of last season.
Yeah,
so.
Big slap in the face to Calgary.
It's the system.
So, again, coaching really does matter. And I thought Tippett was going to go to Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, he was part of that leadership group up there, but I didn't think he was ever going to be in a coaching position again. I thought he would just kind of be part of a management group or something like that.
I don't know. But I'm going to go with Matthews and Draisaitl. I think both of them are equally as talented. Marchand, I think, is very underrated on how talented he is, as he's usually in the face or blowing kisses or trying to not get ran over. McDavid and Draisaitl are just so good. So good.
So fast.
They're so fast and so good. I think I'd rather have them. I'm actually happy Edmonton's doing well this year, because it's one of those things where it's like, guys, it's almost unacceptable to miss playoffs this much.
Like the last decade.
Yeah. No, not just as a team. Just like, okay, you made playoffs when you got McClellan, and we watched that. We were in the apartment together.
Made it to the second round.
Made it to the second round, and you were scoring 7 goals, letting in 7 goals, and it was really lopsided and flip floppy. And then you missed playoffs for 2 years, and then 3. I think you missed it for 3 now. It's like, okay, you cannot have one of the youngest talents, and this is going at Buffalo too. One of the youngest talents in the entire league. And miss playoffs. You can go in as a wild card, number 2. Make it.
Just can't miss.
Can't miss every year. So those are my who would you rather have. I don't really know what the poll question turned out to be, because Didn't ask it, and I didn't answer.
50-50?
50. I would.
I don't know. It's probably leaning more towards McDavid and Draisaitl just because of McDavid. But Draisaitl is kind of like Marchand when it comes to just being underrated, which I mean, Marchand gets a lot more of the spotlight because of the antics and everything else, but Draisaitl has been one of the best players in the entire league, right behind McDavid.
I think he led last year in goals too, but I wish both of them luck. I think Edmonton's still building some pieces, but with what they have, there's really no excuse to not.
I think with Tippett there, it's going to be a better, like you said, a better system, better coaching. Just he's more adept to skill players and makes them more defensive minded, but it's kind of helped out the players offensively as well.
I don't know. I didn't know where they were going to go with the coaching. I think it was one of those things. Again, I wish we did this in the summer, made a coaching video. I was like, well, what would you want in Edmonton?
Better than Hitchcock.
Yeah, well, God, that was
anything.
Yeah. No offense, but better. I just want. Do you want someone younger? Do you want someone from college? Do you want someone that like just got fired? Like, where did you want with it? I think LA looked for somebody who just got fired, and they got him in McClellan, and now he's trying to change him from a physical grinding team to a more speed team. And I don't know if you.
It's hard with how old LA is.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to do that, but they're giving it a go, and I respect them for that. But if they get fired, I'm not going to be surprised. Same with Anaheim. I think Anaheim. They brought back Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Dallas again.
yeah. It was just like, oh, he's back in the NHL again. And it's like, well, maybe this team matches the identity he wants more.
Because I think he was kind of at a point in Edmonton when McDavid was just first drafted, so he doesn't really have a connection with them. So maybe going down back to the minors for Anaheim and then coming back up, he kind of established himself a little bit more.
Figured it out. And I guess he knows his players too. Because now, and I'm just playing with a bunch of people that were down there. So, it's been good. I just, something to marvel at, even though that's not one of our talking points today. Something to marvel at. And, yeah, we don't have a script. So, now that that's done. Next question. Early surprises. We got good and we got bad. You want me?
A lot of bad.
a lot of bad. Do you want to start, or you want me to give you my good and my bad?
Go ahead, man.
All right, I'm gonna go back out to the Atlantic. I'm gonna go with my bad, and it's not really so terrible because again, the two other teams in the division we already knew were gonna be bad. We knew Detroit wasn't gonna be very good, but I said they were gonna score a lot more goals. Doing that. And Ottawa.
It's Ottawa.
It's Ottawa. You don't fix a dumpster fire overnight. I lied. You don't fix a forest fire overnight. It's usually a 2 or 3 day problem. And Ottawa is definitely a massive forest fire that just needs to be solved. So there's that. So I'm going with Tampa. I watched them the other night play Pittsburgh. I thought they would beat Pittsburgh because they have more of their group together, and then I think Pittsburgh beat them or something, and Victor Hedman's out. I didn't realize how crucial Victor Hedman was to that team. So there's that. But just where they're at 6 out of their division. We're looking at it, right? 6 out of their division. So they're behind Boston, and last year they were leading Boston. That's almost identical as last year. It's except for Tampa threw it in. Because last year I think it was Tampa, Boston, Toronto, and then it was either Montreal or Buffalo, and then it was Florida, Detroit, and then Ottawa. Tampa, just bad start for Tampa. Where are they at right now? They're
8-5-2.
8-5-2.
Decent.
They're decent. I mean, they got back on track past 2 days over in Sweden. So, but they also got Hedman back. So I don't really know what to tell you, but I just think it's surprising to me. It was a bad surprise. I thought their work could be better. And again, I'm not too worried about it right now because whatever. My good for that, Buffalo. My goodness, Buffalo is very good. Their head coach, I thought he was coaching somewhere else. I swear to God, someone said he was like a soccer coach. I was like, that's off the wall. But it's working. They have the best power play. They have and people are scoring all throughout the lineup. And their goalie concerns me, as I didn't really know who it was, and now it just seems to be, we're fine. We can do this. We're okay. We can go win games. And they're competitive. I think that's the most important part, from being competitive. Surprise number 2, Florida. Didn't know how that was going to work. Yeah. Big old social experiment down there. But apparently they have 2 of the top 10 goal scorers right now, or point getters in the league. And they have Ed Blood. I believe in Aaron. I have faith in Aaron, but they hired Quinville. They got Bobrovsky, which surprised me as to why would you go to Florida, but and he ended up there, and they've been surprisingly good for me. Those are my 2 surprises. 3 surprises, 2 good, 1 bad. Tampa, not as bad. Not as bad as the rest of this list.
Not a bad surprise, but not a great. Just an interesting one.
Yeah, there's nothing super negative. The others I knew, like, okay, Detroit not going to be that good, and I think they're probably going to fire the head coach in Detroit. Not unjustly, but I just
not going anywhere.
That's
the point.
They're moving up. I just don't know. No defense in that.
Yeah. Just a bunch of young guys up front.
Young guys up front, and I don't even think Green plays for him. I think Daly's on the roster. Doesn't play for him. Cronwall retired. Like, it's just one of the, they just got old, and they didn't replace anybody. And
they didn't build anybody up from in the minors.
No. And they got rid of Mrazek, and I hated that move. They keep Mrazek, get rid of Howard, and go with a younger Ford. But
another day.
Another day. Not terribly surprised at where Detroit's at. Just saying Tampa was worse for me because it was
such a great regular season last year.
And then I was texting you this, like, maybe Tampa just got tired.
Yeah.
Okay, you make playoffs 4 or 5 years in a row, 3 years in a row for the conference championship, and you got knocked out last year by Columbus. Maybe you're just tired.
So much hockey over the last 3 or 4 years. So.
Yeah, maybe you're just tired. And I go, if they miss this year, not the end of the world, but that would be a bad surprise.
Be a shocker.
Yeah. So that's why they're my bad surprise.
I think one of my surprises early in the season, it's a good surprise, is the Islanders. I didn't think they were gonna. I didn't think they would drop off a whole lot from last season, but I would think losing Leonard with the season he had and winning them the Jennings Trophy for the goals against average, and having Greiss step up and be your number 1, I thought they might drop off a little bit. But they really didn't make a whole lot of moves from the off-season to this upcoming season, so they came in with kind of the same group of players, and Barzal's kind of stepped up for them over the last couple of seasons and led the way there. They've kind of just got their offense clicking as they've gone so far, and their goaltending has stepped up when they needed it to, and they went on that 10-game win streak. It's kind of helped them stay close to first place in that Metro division. That's kind of been one of the bigger surprises for me, staying in the Metro division. One of the not a good surprise would be New Jersey. New Jersey had so much hype coming into the season. You add PK Subban, got the personality. You got Wayne Simmons on the team. You got Jack Hughes as the number 1 overall pick. And they've just kind of fallen flat out of the gate. Hall hasn't really stepped up and played to the best of his ability so far this season. And Schneider's kind of had a rough go of it so far the last couple of seasons. But, I mean, just to be last place.
How many people actually left the teams when we were picking them? And Donskoy had a hat trick last night. Chris Tierney somewhere else. They lost a lot of depth, and I didn't realize it. The first game, or the first 2, when Kane was suspended, I was like, okay, whatever. You're playing Vegas. You never really have luck against Vegas. And you're missing Evander Kane. Nope. That's Kane's been playing well. Carlson's been really iffy at times. Burns has been there. Yeah, I don't know what you do. I don't want to say tank and go for players, but what makes you a hot spot to be in San Jose? California, it's a beautiful state from what I hear when it's not on fire or shaking. It's a beautiful state to be in, but you have this goalie who's not playing the level that we have seen him play before. And you have 2, 3 defensemen that are now holding a lot of the money. You have two roster spots that are you're gonna hang their numbers up in your building, and they might go to the Hall of Fame, respectively. Those are holding a spot, and now who's left? Logan, Kane, two rookies that used to play with Joe Thornton. Like, I don't, who are you bringing in, who's coming up? Like, there's no excitement. At least with Arizona being bad, they go, hey, a lot of our prospects, super good. And then they traded a lot of them, but they were like super good. Just overall bad, dude. Letting in goals, almost blowing a 4-goal lead to Minnesota, who we all knew were going to be bad. Like, except for the people of Minnesota, like, well, we could turn this. And
you got Zuccarello. For $6 million a year.
Yeah, and Zuccarello's a good player, but Parise missed that breakaway. Not gonna completely blame that on him. You cannot give up 6 goals and expect to win games. But I mean, you got rid of Coyle, you got rid of Ryder, and you got rid of Holla, and you're like, where did all of our depth scoring go? And you're looking around, and it's so many bad moves. Dumba's been fine, I don't know, but San Jose's been so bad, just so bad. So
so bad.
So bad. I hope we get to watch a little bit of the game tonight, as we're blowing past our time, apparently. I hope we get to watch a little bit, but like watching Nashville and San Jose play, you're going to be watching a dying dinosaur and a team in its prime. Like, that's
so different from, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when they were competing against each other in the playoffs.
Yeah, and here's the thing, I actually looked forward to. Here's a couple games I looked forward to, because I think you got to write down every game you want to look for. I look forward to A&M playing Clemson. This is going to go all over the place. I look forward to Alabama actually playing LSU this year. I wanted to watch Texas play Oklahoma, and then I watched Texas play LSU, and I was like, that's not going to be good. If you want to watch, I wanted to watch the Lakers play the Clippers several times, and I wanted to watch the Houston Rockets play a pretty good team. It doesn't really matter to me because I'm not a big basketball fan, so I just wanted to watch the Rockets play. I wanted to watch San Jose play Vegas. Fights in the preseason, opening nights, playoffs, like that was the thing. I was like, this is what is going to be good. And Vegas wins. They already know it's an auto win. Yeah. they already know. And everyone's like, that's rude. How do you... They know.
And having Kane suspended kind of took the storyline out of the game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm surprised the NHL even did that. That surprised me.
It's like, we'll wait until after these first 2 games, and then we'll suspend it.
But then they played Vegas at home, or no, they played Vegas in Vegas, and then they took them to home. They did a home and a home, and Kane wasn't there for either one of those, and it's so disappointing. But I still watched it, and then after the first one, I was like, after the opening night one in Vegas, I was like, this is not going to be good. And now it's just. I mean, you're lucky you got away with Minnesota winning. Honestly, Minnesota got lucky coming back with 4 goals, because I left the intermission 6-2, and I came back 10 minutes into the third, and it was 6-3, and then they just scored the 4th or something. They scored the 4th or 5th, and it was just like, hey, if you're not watching this game, you need to watch it. And yeah, it was bad. It was so bad. It's just, it makes me mad, and I don't think you should fire their coach. It's not to that point. Don't fire the coach yet. I'm always going to say this. I'm not a fan of firing coaches in the middle of the season, unless, of course, I absolutely know that's the issue. That's the guy that is not doing anything to bring them together, to push them forward. I mean, Ottawa did the right thing last year. Letting Guy go in the offseason. When you knew, you were like, hey, we're going to get a replacement coach. Everyone knows. I think most people know. I just, don't fire him yet. Don't fire that one. Figure out what you need in a draft board. Because money's an issue. Same with Chicago. Money's an issue.
You've got cap tied up for a while.
Yeah. And like Taze was saying, with the current agreement, we get all of our money up front, and then the back half of the years is when we get less and less money. And it's like, well, you're the one that agreed to take less and less money.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be easier if you took less money in the beginning, or evened it out, or look, you signed the contract, deal with it. I don't really know.
They're all front loaded these days.
Yeah, I
Signing bonuses and everything.
yeah, and even then, I think I told you I have a problem when you sign players to 8 years. I have a problem when you sign players to 6 years. But 8 years is a little much for me. And if you're saying, well, it's all front loaded, then take a lesser deal. Yeah. Do one for 3 years and get more money, and then just be like, well, this team can pay me more, or I can be a nice guy and take less money and bring more players. It's really up to you guys. Like, I think it's up to the player.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm like, I don't like signing 8 years. And then maybe you get a little placement. Don't score as much. Don't need to make playoffs. Chicago.
I got my money.
Yeah, I got my money, and now it's like, oh, what do we do? Carl's like, got his money, got 8 years. Maybe some players are like, hey, I want 8 years. I don't want 8 years.
That's what Dottie just signed to.
Yeah. 8 years is a long time. It's a good thing that a player's like, I want to be that committed to a franchise. Sign him for 4. Half of them. Just be like, we'll give you 4. If you play more, and we realize we're not going anywhere, we'll give you more money.
I think if Matthews, 3 years?
Maybe.
Or 5 years, something like that. It's not a bridge deal, but it's not a long-term deal. It kind of gives them some wiggle room in cap space later on. With dealing with Marner over the offseason and Nylander last year, it kind of gives them a little bit of negotiation.
I think that's what you tell them. You go, look, we can either get so much talent here and do something special, or you have to be the point.
You have to be the guy.
Yeah. And Matt Zuccarello really wanted 8 years. Yeah. And Dallas wasn't ready to commit to that because everything's front loaded, so that hurts the cap now. And 8 years was a while. It's one of those things where it's like, dude, half it.
It's mid-30s.
Half
close to mid-30s.
Give us 4. Give us 4 years, and we'll pay you well for 4. And if you want to stay for another 4, we'll do it. That's just my opinion. I'm not a general manager. I'm also not being paid millions of dollars for anything. So that's my thing. So my next question before we hit our last topic, and I think we didn't even mention the topics to people. When do you panic? Who should panic now, and when do you need to panic in the season?
I think the big thing for me is right around the Christmas break. People talk about Thanksgiving, or maybe, like we've been talking about, a quarter way through the season, 20, 25 games, but I think you give it around until December, maybe even up to the All-Star break. St. Louis, that's not going to happen every single year, but things like that, give them at least maybe 30 games, I say, because you're getting close to the halfway point, and that's when you kind of have to establish your team, establish what you're going to be that year. Are you going to be a buyer or seller at the trade deadline? Are you going to be a playoff team? Are you going to be a wild card, or are you going to be in the top 3? That's kind of the time for me when you have to set in. We talked about earlier, Minnesota, this is kind of like, it's panic mode already because you're so far behind. Even, not a lot of people picture to be tops in the division or even be a playoff team, but starting off the way you are, worse than anybody thought you were going to be, is kind of put you in a panic mode like right now in the season.
I'll give you a couple teams panic. I'm going to agree with Minnesota to panic. Not all the new GM's fault, and kind of like the GM in our house. Yeah. Not like our house, but like my house, we like the guy. Yeah. Definitely my mother's second favorite player to watch when I was growing up. It was Turco at 1, and then it was Billy at 2. But bad deals last year. Trading, like I said earlier, trading Coyle, trading Niederreiter, trading Holla. Bad deals. Now, what do you do with Parise? If he's comfortable staying in Minnesota, that's up to him. If you're like, hey, but some people are like, well, we don't want to hurt the fan base's toes. I'm like, look, guys, we either sell the entire farm and move, or
you stick with this for the next half a decade.
Yeah, I said it's so much easier now. Not 20 years ago, not 30 years ago. It's so much easier now to turn around things, to be competitive, because Arizona did it. Arizona, now Arizona's rebuilding phase has been long, because they don't keep any.
Toronto did it pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's like, Yeah, Arizona's rebuilding phases because their general manager keeps trading away all their young talent.
Taking on players that are retired.
Yeah, so like don't do
Freeing up cap space for other teams.
don't do that. And then the city has issues with them. But I mean, Winnipeg seemed to be really bad in Atlanta. Moved to Winnipeg, they were good. So it's one of those things where it's like you can't be this bad because you can either give somebody a lot of money now, or you can draft a highly talented person and shuffle things around. Edmonton was bad, but they were so bad for the 2010s too. There's too much talent. There's too much talent now to be this bad. Minnesota, I think if you sell and just open up the gates and just go, hey, we're going to keep the coach, and we're going to talk about what players he wants and what system he's going to be able to build, and you get all the players to buy in, and the ones that don't, move them, or you just accept, like, okay, this is going to be bad, we're going to get a pick, we're going to try to work with this and see where this goes. The next bad team that needs to improve really quickly, New Jersey. Dear God, like right now, you need to fix the ship right now. Dallas has been on the upswing. Winnipeg's been really competitive. Columbus didn't kind of saw that coming, didn't see that coming, and the team. Watching the Rangers play with their lineup, I'll say this, last team for me that needs to fix it real quickly, that actually has a chance because I don't think Columbus has a chance. They're competitive, but they don't have a chance. New York, bringing in that much talent, having a very solid goalie. I know he's a little older, very solid goalie when you need him to be. Fix it. You can't this season. You need defensemen.
Yeah.
Fix.
Not much besides Stahl. He's been there for a while.
Yeah. Defenseman.
Lost Shattenkirk a while ago.
Lost Shattenkirk, got rid of Girardi.
Lost Hayes.
Yeah. You
lost a lot of pieces at the trade deadline last year.
And you fired your coach. I know it's new, so I don't know what you would give. I would say picks. But that sounds awful because where you're at. But if you want to be competitive, now's the time. Now's the time to really do it. I know Sabinajad's injured, but you got Panarin, Kakko, Sabinajad, Kreider. You still have a lot of speed to play with, and there's another guy I'm forgetting about in New York.
Lost Jimmy VC.
Lost VC, yeah.
To the other New York team.
One of the
One
other
of the other New York teams.
So New York, I still don't have much faith in them. But if you were like, hey, you really want to see someone succeed, New York. New York and LA are very interesting towns because if the teams are good, the people are there. But if they're not, building is empty. So that's my thought. Last thing, and then we'll be done. We did that. We asked them to panic. God, Minnesota needs to panic now. New York needs to panic halfway through if they're going to be committed.
Panicked in the offseason.
It sounds like they should have panicked in the offseason. They need to kind of panic now. Mid-season panic. Tampa, not yet. 41 games and you're still in that spot, panic.
Yeah.
Overtime. Dear God, overtime has been so bad for me. Not because it's been stressful, because it's been boring.
It's the same cycle, the puck around, regroup, go to the neutral zone, get a change.
I wrote down some thoughts on why overtime is starting to suck. It used to be over in a minute 30. Now, it lasts anywhere from 3 minutes to 4 minutes, and we even watched the shootout tonight. Now, I can respect that shootout because that actually showed shots and they were back and forth up at the ice. I want to think. The All-Star game, I'll start this. The All-Star game ruined it because everyone realized we're playing 20 minutes of 3-on-3, so we need to be a little more puck controlling and move it, but at least they're willing to shoot because the game honestly doesn't mean anything. That's the point of that All-Star game. Doesn't mean anything. Shoot, we miss, they go down, score. We have plenty of talent because we're full of All-Stars. One of us will score.
The thing is, in 3-on-3, don't miss the net. Because then the puck's around the boards and the other team is gone.
And someone's like, well, yeah.
Which that's what makes it exciting.
Yeah, that's what makes it exciting. I'll give you guys this quick story. So, my cousin and his wife now, I don't know if they were married at the time. I think it's when the rule first got implemented, so they were fiancés. She does not like watching hockey that much. She participates in sports, but I think that's just because we're a big sports family. Like, for him, sports are important, so she'll watch a basketball game. As long as it's exciting, she'll watch a Texans game, but she's not committed to football, which is fair because football is sometimes awful. So she is on her phone during the Stars game, it's numeral, and she looks up and they're in overtime. And they're just up, down, and she puts her phone down for the 2 minutes that were there, and I think the Stars ended up winning, or they might have lost, I don't know. But she turns and she goes, I don't know what that was, but that was exciting, because for most of the game she looks at it like soccer, as it's just super boring, not a lot of goals are scored, but she's like, that was exciting.
Yeah.
That's what overtime's supposed to be. That's what gets your average fans like, hey, I don't want to be here for another 20 minutes for a shootout. I want to go home. It's been 2 hours. The score's 2-1, 3-2. There's not a lot of goals happening. I want to go home. That's what overtime was supposed to be.
Sweden and North America. That's what overtime is supposed to be.
It's supposed to be quick. It's supposed to end the game. Shootouts I still enjoy, but they took away the spin move. I don't think there's as much creative ability anymore for players to do wild things. Half of them are dead tired.
Yeah, just come in, shoot the puck.
Yeah, there's no stopping or moving. There's not. I mean, we watched some tonight, but like, there's not. Overtime is where it's supposed to be. And now they're like, let's make this 4 minutes in a possession game. I'm like, no, you had 60 minutes to do that.
This is like score now.
Score now, send us all home. Win or miss. So, again, solution, shot clock. Leave the zone, dump it back in. Force turnovers. What happens if you don't do that? I don't know. Give a penalty.
I say if you're within the zone, I give you 20, 25 seconds to get a shot off. That's not too much when you're playing 3-on-3 and the shifts are 30, 40 seconds at a time.
Dude, I don't even care if you shoot and you shoot for the pad and it's just like a rebound out the other way. It at least creates something. Just something. And it's so not, oh, we entered and then I could get if the puck skipped over your stick, but they're literally like, don't like this look, and they circle all the way back. No. That has to be force dump and force you to change.
Like, try and get back out on the ice.
Yeah, send 3, like, just make it exciting.
So I believe with overtime it's the long change too.
Yeah.
So that makes it even more difficult.
Is it? I think it's just difficult to change 3 people at the same time. I mean, we even watched one tonight.
You can change like a defenseman,
Yeah.
maybe, or a forward.
We watched one tonight, take too many men.
Yeah, and 5 guys on the ice.
I think if I was to ask his wife now, and I'd be like, hey, let's watch this overtime game, a recording of this overtime game, and she watches it, she'd be like, this is kind of boring.
This is what 4-on-4 used to be like.
Yeah, and that's why we changed it to 3-on-3. Some of them, really good. And if it lasts 5 minutes, I'm okay with it. Tonight, okay with it. Two nights ago?
Take it old school, you can't make a forward pass. Everything has to be backwards.
Like, it's so... Oh, it's so bad. It's so rough. It really is. I think you should even let the goalie skate it out.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you should do.
I wanted Anderson to win it tonight.
That's what you should do. Hey, you take it out of the zone, you have to pass it to your goalie, and he has to, like...
Everybody's got to touch the puck at least once.
Yeah, like something, there has to be something to where it'd be like, okay, you left the zone, you either can dump it back in, or you can fire it down from where you're at, and pass it to your goalie. You all regroup, and then you come up. Because if the goalie makes a Hail Mary turnover...
It's the greatest thing ever.
it's dead sprints the other... I think it changes it, but it makes it really boring. It's... The last minute and 30, best part of overtime.
It's like watching a power play. It's like cycle, regroup, change.
Some teams can't even do that correctly.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, oh god, don't even get us started on power plays because we just talked about Dallas's 3-on-3 overtime. I don't think they last more than 3 minutes because they live and die by the way it's supposed to be. Not the way the All-Star game broke it. Like, okay guys, hold the puck. I have no problem wanting to have puck possession in the regular thing. We've been here for 2.5 hours. Hell, if there's a replay, we're probably been there for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, get it done. Like, it's time to get kind of move it. I'm ready to. That's my issue. I'm tired of watching the 3 to 4 minute overtimes.
No more shootouts. They talked about that. Where was it? ECHL has 7-minute 3-on-3 now instead of 5 minutes.
Because you can't have ties.
Yeah. I mean, there's not going to be a tie, but I think people want to. Ever since they introduced the shootout, it's kind of been like we don't want the shootout anymore.
I think once you went to 3-on-3.
Or they could make it international rules, I think, would be more exciting. If after 3 shooters you can pick whoever you want to go again, like Oshie back in Sochi, you can just go 3-4 times in a row.
I just want him to make moves. Dude, Jamie Benn doesn't even know how to move. He's
Skates in. It's the old James Neal.
Yeah, fires. It's like, oh god, like someone goes, really? That was his move? And I go, look, that's like 90% of everyone's move. Like,
unless you're like Sagan, where you just walk in and rip it over the blocker.
Yeah, I'm like, there are very few players that are like, let me think of this creatively.
Kucherov. Just ridiculous.
This best shootout to this day that I still saw, Chicago, Detroit.
Oh my god. Datsuk.
It was, and they go, I think if Detroit won, they got the series at home, and if they lost, the series was still in Chicago. So they were like, oh, we'll send Taze, we'll send Kane, we'll send Datsuk, we'll send, who else did they send out for Detroit?
Zetterberg.
I think they might have sent him. They sent one other person who had, like, really good hands. And they were just like, no, like, because they had to win in regulation. That was the other thing. If you won in regulation, you got it at home. And since they went to overtime, and then they went to a shootout, the point didn't count. So they were just like, well, game 82. Yeah, game 82. And they went out and they just, that was a show. See, that's what that's supposed to be. Either make shootouts like a show, or they don't even attempt it. So I would be fine if you got rid of it, but that was like the best shootout. Because it was just like, oh, Patrick Kane went down and did his little thing, and then Datsuk went down and was just like, oh, by the way, soft flip over the blocker, and Crawford just watched it. Yeah, just rolled in. Best shootout. I still watch that one, but God, this overtime. 4-on-4 I was excited about because they were like, oh, there's so much open ice. 3-on-3. Remember when it first started, no one had a strategy.
No. They're just like, please win the opening face-off.
Yeah,
it's going to be over within 30 seconds.
They go, yeah, overtimes are lasting at longest minute 15. I'm like, perfect. Because seriously, I'd get notifications on the phone, and I still do. Hey, this team and this team. Because you can get phone notifications if you follow 5 teams, you can get them. I wasn't even following those 5 teams. And they're like, hey, such and such went to a shootout or overtime. I click on it, and if my phone didn't load fast enough, it was over. Yeah. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like, someone's like, what kind of phone plan do you have where it's not loading fast enough? Clearly, a crappy one. But that's not the point.
Yeah.
If my phone can load into the overtime and I can watch it, there's an issue.
Yeah.
That's all my phone is. But it makes me so mad. It ruined it. It ruined it. And I think it ruins the casual viewer. Because honestly, you're trying to get more into the market of, hey, we want Dallas does a really good job of we're competitive and we can make playoffs and we have high profile names here in Dallas. Come to one of our games on a Tuesday night, be entertained. Now, it's, Dallas seems kind of bad. Dallas can't really score. I want to see goals. And so they made the rules bigger nets, smaller pads. No boundaries into forward passing. They made it to where it's so we can score more goals, and then you get to overtime and you're like, we don't want you to. Yeah. Seriously, like if you watch the last minute 30, everyone's into it.
Especially in a 1-goal game, or if a team has to pull the goalie, they're trying to tie the game. It's like everything is down at one end for the last minute and a half of a game.
Makes that exciting, but if you go to overtime, just think, everyone's cheering when they shoot, everyone's like, oh my god, get back, and then there's a save, everyone was like...
And it goes back the other way.
Yeah, and it's like, that's the point of this, it drives emotions, and then you go, man, our fans were really good in like the past minute. I'm like, yeah, they were loud as hell.
Yeah.
I loved it. I wish I was, that's what makes me want to buy tickets is, hey, that fan base was loud as hell in overtime.
Like some of those where even if you lose in overtime, you're like, damn, that was exciting.
Yeah, like that's the point of it. That's the point of, hey, we might lose, but holy hell, that was exciting. You can cut me in traffic. Come on. That's the point of it. It made people friendlier. And now it doesn't. Everyone's pissed. It pisses me off. I think we're going to talk about PK. Your thoughts on, he's your favorite defenseman. That's That's my rant on overtime. Pisses me off. Finish it. We're minute 30 into it. I know what you're thinking. Well, you guys should abide by the overtime rules and make your video shorter. Shut up. If I was to be in overtime with any of you, I would shoot. And then we would sprint back and try to play defense. Now, PK. Thoughts on him? You gotta social media. I told you I didn't really like his all-star late night show.
Yeah, it was kind of a forced thing, I think. NBC trying to make the NHL more popular, maybe trying to make it more modern, or get it out to more viewers, I guess.
I'm not saying he's not likable, and then everyone's gonna be like, "You're harping on his friend." No, it's fine. Too much. There's too much. Married Lindsay. I'm not knocking him for marrying Lindsay. Someone's gonna be like, "You're knocking." No, I'm not. But he's trying to get one of those NFL. Well, there's too much. You could make an argument. There's too many cameras in the NFL. Like, oh, you can mic players up now. I like that. Now you have teams like Boston, Pittsburgh behind the B with the Pens, whatever it is, behind the leaf. I'm sure the Canadian teams have it. I don't know. When the Leafs fall, I don't know what you could call it. I think he's trying to do that. Nashville wasn't like a fan of being, hey, and it makes him look more me than team, and that's my issue. Then he has terrible timing on turnovers. Feels bad when he does.
When you're winning, nobody cares, but when you're losing, it's amplified even more.
Well, that was a problem with Montreal. I think Montreal had the problem with him being on Twitter and being really loud and doing all these. I have no problem with the Instagram and Twitter because it's literally like, hey, that takes 3 seconds. Picture or it's up there. This whole, hey, I started a YouTube channel and now I have a day in the life in the NHL. You have to purposely, hey, this is the way we're shooting scenes. I mean, you've done this. I would say you have to, now that I know what it is, storyboard what you're doing if you're making that YouTube channel. Now I know what you're thinking. You guys need a storyboard. Hell no, because it's easy. Put a camera and talk.
Yeah.
We don't even look at you guys, okay? That's my issue. He's all over social media. He started a YouTube channel. He's really big on Insta. He went to the Jets game and then posted about that. And then he was like, okay, we did this, and then we did that, and then we did this, and now we did that, and now I'm going to go work out, and now I'm going to show you what I eat. And it's like, you're too much for me. I never hear from Jamie Benn.
I don't think he's a very social guy.
I think he's low-key funny.
Probably.
I mean, it's like if Sagan was to get his own TV show, people would just be like, why are you giving him that? Even the Cowboys draw the line of do not.
Yeah.
There's I think it's
more of a team thing.
Yeah. I mean,
we follow the team behind the scenes, but we're not following this individual player or this person, this personality.
For his own show. I mean, they do that after retirement. PK's carrying his own camera into stadiums and showing. I mean, I think it's cool, and I think there's a market for it, but you're doing it on your own. And that's what bothers me, because it's so much more work to be like, did we get that shot right? Now I think he clearly has enough money to edit his own crap, to pay for editing. We edit our own. If you can't tell, I poorly edit things. It bothers me. Maybe the Devils have TV. They even had the NHL follow them.
Yeah.
Like one of those 30 for 30, or not 30 for 30, but they followed the Raiders this year for football, and they follow the Devils this year for hockey. Yeah. And then they follow teams up to the Winter Classic. So there's cameras everywhere. You can do this on your own. I don't like it.
It'll be interesting to see how it shows Dallas in the first couple of weeks of the season behind closed doors.
And even then, they know, the camera crew does a good job of being like, we don't air this.
Yeah, we know what to air, things that aren't too personal, things that aren't attacking this one player or what have you.
I mean,
things that aren't going to affect the organization.
And that's the thing with, I think you could have a problem with the Uber driver with Ottawa. Well, it's his personal video to release, but did they know they were being filmed? I think that's part of, and that goes down to Canadian filming laws. Here in Texas, there's a one-party consent state, so I got you to consent. Yeah. Then obviously I consented because it's my crap, but I don't know. with you being like, hey, I wanted to go to the Jets game. Hey, I wanted to go do this. Hey, I wanted to do whatever. That's part of the reason why Ken got traded out of Buffalo, is because he went to go see a Drake concert one night and fly back to Buffalo and play later.
Yeah. Priorities.
Yeah. Now that he's in California, he's like, oh, I could definitely go see a concert. I'm like, it's not the... It just, to me, looks more me than team, and I don't know. Carlson has his own issues. Carlson posts pictures in the off season.
Yeah.
Most players do. Maybe that's another problem. If he gets traded from New Jersey, then I think it's time to be like, what do you do when you're not practicing?
It's like, where are you gonna go?
Yeah, who's taking him? I mean, he's talented enough to be taken. I'm not saying he's like bad.
So where are you gonna go that you can win a championship?
But he's not even this year. He's on. I don't think the past 2 years he was even in the conversation for Norris.
Not really.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, if you were at like the
Even Burns has like been on a San Jose team that hasn't really done much. He's still always in the Norris conversation.
Yeah.
Or Carlson.
And Downey too. It's one.
Yeah.
If you're not here in your sport, then you wouldn't have the ability to make your own videos, to make your own, to post as much as you do. I think it's uncomfortable for people to post athletes as much as like Twitter. I mean, there's even like, oh my god. Part of this is I think football players are sometimes really stupid, but they were like, hey, no phones in the locker room. Don't Snapchat, don't tweet, just wait. they have training days. I think the NHL probably does this too. It's just funny to me that you go, hey, grown men, get in here. Day one, what does it mean to be part of our organization? Well, we're going to go over what your influence on social media should be and how to correctly tweet and talk and to phrase things. And it's like, it's a stupid meeting. Yeah. It's a waste of a day. And everyone's probably sitting there like, this is really dumb. And PK's like, okay, don't make videos in the locker room and don't call anyone out on Twitter so I can start a YouTube channel. Like, that's probably like, I don't know. The show thing was fine. During the All-Star break, I wasn't expecting it to be lights out funny.
Yeah.
And it was a little...
It just felt forced, kind of. I don't know.
It just wasn't great for me. Wasn't something where I was like, yeah, dude, PK should host next All-Star break too.
Yeah.
No, I was like, that's so...
I don't want to say I'd rather have Pierre, but...
I still don't want that. I'm like, dude... Not even, I don't know of any other All-Star being like, let me host a late night show for you. I'm like, no. Like, they...
Yeah.
Too much for me. I think PK should reconsider his priorities a little bit, but that's just me being, hey, that looks bad. And then someone would be like, well, you're not supposed to tell him how to live his life. You're right. I believe so much in individual freedoms, but when your job is in public display and your team is one in like whatever, I think I have a fair point to be, don't make a YouTube video in the middle of a season.
Yeah.
Be like, what are you doing? I go, here's the thing. I didn't make YouTube videos when we went back to spring. When we went to spring, we wanted to do one over spring break and then we never did because we were terrible people. Yeah, I did this one. But I have a major exam coming up, so it's one of those things where it's like, I don't make videos in San Angelo.
Yeah. That's stuff going on.
I'm trying not, it's my last go around. I got till November to make sure I'm actually guaranteed my thing. Here's the other thing, I'm not even walking.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's certain things I care about, but it means if I don't have to stay in San Angelo longer, I'm not going to walk. That offense to San Angelo, but that's me. PK's been a problem for me. He could do Instagram Live, and I think that would flirt the line with that too.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that. Post pictures, runs a YouTube channel. And YouTube's hard. YouTube's hard now.
Yeah. It's flooded.
I'm saying I think we got something here if we can refine it. Because I think we have to know what we're good at. We're not a commentary channel that makes fun of people or comments on people. I would say make fun of, but we're not a criticism channel that picks on like the big YouTube stars in order to get views and clicks. We looked into this and go, there's really no one that does does this, and ESPN sucks. So why not us?
Besides Canada, there's not really anybody covering the NHL.
Or it's former players.
Yeah. Most former players are working on NBC now.
They work on NBC.
Or NHL Network.
Or the NHL Network, or they're doing the Spitting Chicklets podcast. And it's one of those things where it's like, I like the podcast.
Satellite radio.
Yeah, it's satellite radio. This is something that is free, and we can interact with anybody who would want to. That's the point of this. There's one other guy that does it. I told you, there's one other guy that does it. And I respect him. And he's Canadian, but it's one of those things where it's like, A, from the South, B, from the United States. ESPN only does it on Plus. Plus costs extra money. And they fired half their staff writers 2 years ago. So.
I'm sure they really love hockey.
I remember them asking PK for intel after their playoff win, and PK goes, "No,
Yeah.
send a reporter," because they couldn't send anybody.
It's like, oh, you can't? Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I'm
Bye.
not doing your work for you. And maybe part of his plan was to do this. And if he was in Nashville, I think it would be a little bit different. But it's still one of those weird optic things, where it's like, I don't think he has the intention of being self-centered, because he can still say it's a we thing. That's the way the NHL works. It's a we. This looks so much me. Not it's, and they do that for the, like, I get you need content to fill your off season with. So they go, hey, what do you like to eat during the regular season? Or, hey, let us, there's videos they do and training they do. And there's behind the scenes that they can film. But I think the players are just, it's nice to be able to get away from being in this, and he's all in. Dude, you could do vlogs.
Especially in your first year with a new team.
Yeah, dude, you could do vlogs with Lindsey Vonn when playoffs are over. If you make playoffs. When playoffs end, you could do it. When the regular season's over, you could do it. And I think it would be interesting until you start going, all right, back at the gym again for the 5th time this week or the 3rd time this week, and it's like, okay, you're starting your vlogs off the same way. But Lindsey Vonn's obviously very good. She would probably want to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You guys go to social events too. Good. Where were they the other week? I don't know. Clearly, she's very into it because the gritty thing was funny.
Yeah.
So it's
anything with gritty.
The gritty was like, "Hey, you should come, marry me," and then she replied back with, "I got somebody else," and she was standing next to the Devils mascot. I'm like, she's obviously very clever when it comes to this, and stuff like that's fun, and I enjoy that. But what?
Kind of like you said, it's the same thing every day. Because with any professional athlete, it's all routine. So I'm like, you're just going to be seeing the same thing over and over again.
I think you have days off, and I think that would be interesting. You'd be like, hey, I have a day off that's not a place that I've...
Or be like, hey, what place should I visit while I'm in the city or something?
Yeah.
Or what restaurant, something like that.
And I think
interact with the fans.
Yeah, that's something that we could, that's one of the goals I want. I think part of the winter, again, so we're from Dallas, but the Winter Classic is going to give us this opportunity to kind of just be like, this is us, this is what we watch, this is what we see. God, I hope they clean up Dallas a little bit, because that'd be pretty terrible to film.
Well, it is for a park.
But again, we both have the same intention of, I want to see every stadium.
I want to see more than one. I haven't been to more than one yet, so.
But we both, now that we know we travel well together, especially in 7 hours in a car, I think we can do anything together now.
I didn't fall asleep. I'm very proud of myself.
Maybe the spring. I really don't know.
I would really like to go to Colorado.
Now, dude, they're so good. They would be exciting.
Even to not even see you play Dallas, just Colorado. Obviously against like a good, decent, be a good game.
And that's what I think we've had this conversation before. I go, look, I don't want to just follow Dallas around. I think that would be fine. But if I'm going to go watch Colorado, I want to root for Colorado.
Or if you go to Montreal, you want to see like a game. It's like Montreal and Toronto or somebody like that. A big matchup that's gonna bring a lot of people, and it's a big rivalry game.
It's the last minute
San
of
Jose
overtime.
and Vegas.
It's the last minute of overtime for 60 minutes. That's the game I want to watch. Loud, close. I don't know. I think we've talked about what constitutes as a good game for me. Score, close by 1, or ends in overtime. There's a fight.
Yeah.
And
a couple fights.
there's a couple fights, and there's plenty of action. And that's what constitutes a good game for me.
Or there's a storyline.
I mean, there's always going to be a story.
Gowdy versus Kachuk.
Yeah.
In the LA Calgary game.
Yeah, see, that would be good. Again, we wanted to go to Arizona last year, and then we realized we didn't have money. Spring, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have I'm kind of like PK. I have other plans now, but I'm not doing them while I'm in school. So, that's my advice. That's us. I don't know. You could, if you ever watched this, I think our highest view was 10, and we have 1 subscriber. Side note.
Thank you.
2 things. 1, we need to promote better. That's us just speaking in general. 2, you should subscribe. So we can say we have 2 followers. Comment. Twitter. Buddy will probably reply. If you guys start hitting them up on Twitter, I want you to freak them out and being like, hey, Nick, people are actually tweeting at us. What the hell? Because I'm not going to get those notifications.
I check it every day. So. It's where I get all my news from.
Yeah, I don't. But I mean, if you tweet at us our fresh podcast, I think it dings on yours.
Yeah, it should, because I have the dual account. So
I think it's shared. Dude, it keeps asking me for confirmation. Like, is this really yours? And I'm just like, dude, we're splitting it between 2 people on 2 different
just let me
sites.
alone.
Instagram. We are not photogenic, and then you're like, why are you in front of a camera? For very weird
Stories every now and then. I really don't do posts.
Yeah, you post most stories about concerts. Now, honest to God, if we don't talk about hockey and we burn this thing to the ground, completely fine.
We're going on tour.